Oh, I do think that white people are absolutely jealous of black people, specifically with the community, and also with like fashion and music and everything else that is appropriated. But by design of what whiteness is, it inherently lacks community. And
have you ever noticed that everything Donald Trump touches turns to a big pile of steaming shit? It doesn't matter if we're talking about the economy, foreign policy, domestic policy, even something so simple as manners. It goes from being thriving and robust to a big stinking pile of caca.
I think white people are so triggered by black joy because they have zero control over it. And white people are all about control. And anything they don't get to control and manage and dictate freaks them the hell out.
Why do white people resent black excellence? Let's talk about it. Not all white people are racist, obviously, but there is a specific subset for whom black excellence seems like a personal affront to them, right? It really bothers them when black people succeed.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel once again. So guys, right now majority of white Americans, they are regretting for voting for this administration simply because of how things they are in America. We have been seeing how white people, they are really suffering in America. Majority of them, we have been seeing they have been losing their jobs. Majority of them, they cannot even afford basic necessities. We have been seeing the white farmers they have been going bankrupt, and all this, it is because of them voting against their own interest. Black people, they came out and warned them during the campaign season. Black people, they tried to warn these white people, but majority of them, they didn't listen warning from black people. Majority of them, they went and vote so that they can punish black people. Majority of them, they went and vote for deportation. Majority of them, they went and vote against their own interest. But right now, we have been seeing majority of white people, they have been coming out regretting not listening for what black people they were telling them, how black people they were warning them not to vote in for this administration. So I came across some of the videos from white people. I want you to watch this video and see how they are really regretting for not listening the warnings from black people. And also right now, they are now coming out and they are seeing black people that are not complaining. They are seeing black people that are doing better than them. So they are right now furious because also apart from them suffering, they see like black people that are not suffering, and also they are seeing black people that are doing better in this time when they are really suffering. So kindly guys, watch these compilations of video till the end, then I'll be back with more comment. All credits goes to the original creator of the video. I'm your host, Dash Lifestyle.
Living in America right now feels like a punishment. You wake up already behind, you go to work just to stay broke, and you watch the cost of everything rise while your paycheck doesn't move an inch. Groceries are a luxury, rent is robbery, healthcare is a joke, and somehow we're the ones blamed for not budgeting better. People are working 2-3 jobs and still choosing between food or gas. Families are crammed into apartments because buying a house became a fantasy. You can't afford to get sick, you can't afford to rest, you can't afford to exist. But they keep telling us the economy is strong. Strong for who? Because it sure as hell isn't the people doing the work. We're out here treading water while billionaires build rockets, politicians trade stocks, and corporations raise prices just because they can. We were promised opportunity, we got survival. And what makes this worse is watching people blame themselves. Like somehow you failed because you can't afford a 1-bedroom anymore. Like you didn't do enough, when the truth is the math just stopped adding up years ago. They told us to work harder, but never told us they'd change the finish line. This isn't a country full of lazy people. It's a country full of exhausted ones. Simple as that.
So it's make Argentina great again. It's make Israel better. It's anything but America first. And now he's going to take away food stamps the whole month of November. And let me tell you what, 1 out of every 5 people that are on food stamps are veterans. They have fought for this country, and President Trump is punishing poor people for the No Kings rally. That's what he's doing. See, President Trump doesn't want to be president anymore. He wants to be the king. He's already established everything that he has to do. And look, you've seen what them young Republicans were writing, and you've seen that guy come out and say, well, this is just what all Republicans do and say behind the scenes. It's no big deal. This is how we all feel. They're all racist, male chauvinist, pedophiles, and now they want us to accept that. Look, President Trump's ratings are dropping like the rent on a burning building. He doesn't care that you don't agree with what he's doing. he's just going to start punishing the poorest of us all. And that's making America great.
I'm really starting to think that Trump is purposely trying to destroy the U.S. economy and get America to collapse the way the USSR did, so that him and his billionaire buddies can buy everything up for pennies on the dollar and turn us into a full-blown oligarchy the way Russia did after the USSR collapsed. That's the only thing that makes sense in my brain, because everything that he is doing is isolating America from its allies. He is destroying trade on the world stage with us and all of the people we do trade with. I mean, China's putting exports on restrictions on all of their rare earth exports at this point. There's literally nothing that he's done since he took office that is good for the American people or the American economy. Everything that he has done has been for billionaires and has been at the detriment of the U.S. as a country. Like, our entire workforce is being decimated now as he is sending a whole bunch of people out of the country who used to do jobs like construction and farming. So we're going to have a food shortage because there's not enough people picking the food. We're going to have a worse housing problem because there's not enough people building the houses. And it literally seems like everything that he is doing is just designed to destroy this country. And yet the MAGA people are still licking his boots. It's wild.
This isn't me trying to fearmonger, this is just me trying to prepare you. The US economy right now is like a Jenga tower with 18 fucking pieces missing. We are one piece pulled out away from everything just toppling down. AI was responsible for 40% of US GDP growth this past year and 80% of US stock growth. And the manufacturing industry has contracted for 7 consecutive months, while every other economic indicator is saying this is as bad as things have been since 2009. Now, when you have a sentence that says the economy is as bad as it's been since 2009, you are fucked. So again, this is not me fear-mongering, this is just me preparing you. Our economy is in a very bad place. If you have a job, hold on to it with everything you have.
I'm at the point in my life where I feel like if this is not fucking rock bottom, I don't know what is. Because I told my director, I told everyone my situation. I have 6 days to figure out a second job, and then the job that I have now just cut me back to part-time. I have 3 kids. I'm about to be fucking homeless. And I don't know what to do. Like, I told them my situation and they basically were like, let's kick this bitch while she's down. So now it looks like I'm going to be finding 2 jobs instead of just having to find another one. I feel like this is never going to get better. I fucking hate being an adult, and never in my life have I struggled this fucking bad, and this is the most money that I've ever made.
I'm in these non-toxic groups on Facebook where people live non-toxic lives and we're looking for non-toxic recommendations for the products that we use. And I made a Facebook post, this was a while back, and I was like, I'm looking for Black-owned, non-toxic hair product recommendations for my entire family who has various hair types. And my post was just met with so many white women who are like, that's racist. Why are you looking for Black owned? I'm telling you, this post got endless comments full of hatred. Like, it just kept coming and coming and coming. You support Black businesses to get rid of the racial wealth gap. Like, it's seriously the least that you can do. It's the easiest thing that you can do. So I was like talking with these people in the comments, and they're coming at me and they're attacking me. And it brought out a side of me that I'm not proud of. I called them what they were. And basically my entire post got taken down. And so I didn't get any answers. But if this isn't a really good example of how white people don't want Black people to succeed, I don't know what is. And so if you have any good recommendations for non-toxic products in general that are Black owned, I would love for you to drop them in the comments, because I did get a couple of answers, but the post got taken down so suddenly that I couldn't write them down. And then some that we found that we ended up trying just didn't work out the way that we hoped. We have hair types ranging from 4A to C and hair like mine. But I'm always looking for Black owned businesses that I can support in general. And products that are non-toxic are a big plus.
America is falling behind. When an authoritarian regime attacks academia, science, news reporters, free speech, students, the best and the brightest leave. The same thing happened in Germany, in Russia, in Greece, and it's happening here. And this hurts the country because all of the talent is going elsewhere to help another country.
I'm going to make a video that is very high level in finance, but needs to be redirected to as many eyeballs as possible because this is eventually going to affect everyone, including yourself. And this is not a doom and gloom. This is simply just a high level overview of what is coming and what the impacts will have on your life. I've made videos about this stuff before, but they've been very in-depth. So I want to make a video that is much higher level overview to give everyone an understanding for themselves and how they can prepare. On August 11th, the United States national debt surpassed 37 trillion. Now, you might ask, well, why is this really important? Well, October 2025, or September, I guess you could say the end of September, is when the national debt, or essentially the fiscal year of 2025, ended. And we ended at a debt of 37.6 trillion, which means in a month and a half, we added another $600 billion to the national debt. The United States economy, when you look underneath the surface, it isn't doing too hot. Again, I'm not going to go into the weeds, but when you look into the data, it's really not actually doing that hot. And with that, we have 10 companies, 10 tech companies, that are keeping the economy, quote unquote, afloat. Problem with this is it's very much looking very bubblish, very 2001, very 1929-esque. Now, the problem with this is the United States government has way too much debt. We are at something called a debt to GDP ratio of 125%. I think it's a little more now, like 125.4%. The reality of the situation is if the United States economy takes a turn downward because these companies aren't able to produce the results that they're essentially being invested into at the valuations that they have, or essentially you can put it in terms of like they're looking as shiny as they can be. And if they're not as shiny as they actually are, later down the road, then everything in the market could essentially pop. Now, the problem with this is the United States economy, or the United States government, has been a backstop. The United States government does not have the financial capability to backstop this bubble popping. And the genuine concern is that if this bubble pops, the United States government will not be able to fund. It will not be able to bring in the money that is able to then fund the government, the debt itself. And so typical things like Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, the largest expenses to the government will have to start dwindling. Now, if this gets even more severe, how does this start to affect the socio-political sphere? And what if the money itself for things like subsidies of energy, like oil, or subsidies for things like food, what if that starts getting affected and farmers can't produce the food that we need and oil companies can't produce the energy that we need, and we have essentially a sell-off and the inability to fuel the people that we have? What happens then? And genuinely, I would typically say, hey, the United States will be able to get through this. Humans have ingenuity, and we have the ability to see the problems, be able to work around the problems, create solutions to the problems. But the only caveat to this is when you have a problem, it tends to be something that's a little more concrete. But what we're talking about now is not a concrete problem. What we're talking about is a system failure. A point where the actual government, the entire thing that we know of collectively as what we all bank on as being secure, pops and it goes away. And that's the genuine concern. And so the spiral looks like this. The hype gets real in artificial intelligence that it's going to be able to boost productivity and help us grow out of the national debt. Then the productivity, the AI bubble pops instead of it being a real boom. And then that spirals over to the government not having the capital or the money to be able to fund the debt. And then the debt spirals. And then the debt causes the United States government to go insolvent. And then the entire populace turns into a socio-political, violent collapse. This definitely isn't a conversation you want to have over our dinner table. But again, more people need to be aware of this situation, because it is a process that is playing out right in front of our eyes. So let's talk about it now before the situation actually is around the corner.
Why do white people resent black excellence? Let's talk about it. Not all white people are racist, obviously, but there is a specific subset for whom black excellence seems like a personal affront to them, right? It really bothers them when black people succeed. The 13th Amendment emancipated enslaved black Americans in 1865, and then the Jim Crow laws kind of wrapped up with the passing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. So if we do the math, that's about 61 years in which black Americans were able to strive for success in any sort of meaningful way without like the constraints of the law pulling them down. 61 years. If we compare that to white Americans who besieged a land already owned and occupied by indigenous Americans, we'll put that around 1620 when, the Mayflower came here, then that gives them about 425 years to establish success in this country. 425 versus 61. If we compare those two fundamentally very different time spans, like how much did white Americans actually do in all that time? If we were to compare even the poorest and most underprivileged of white America to black America generally, it is clear that white Americans are born way past the start line, right? By that I mean, by like nature of being white in American society, you do benefit from all sorts of privileges. And like, to be frank, you're not exhausted by the horrible experience of facing racism on a daily basis, right? You do have a ton of privileges. So I imagine existing in this bubble of privilege that you like totally deny, the existence of black people for whom success is like second nature when it comes so easily and so readily, even though you've only had 61 years to achieve it. I imagine that's exhausting and frustrating. I imagine it makes people feel super, super inferior and hurts certain people's tiny, tiny little egos. And what do they blame that deep, deep psychic pain on? Well, of course, DEI and critical race theory and affirmative action. So I guess the question is, what might help those white Americans who just so strongly detest black excellence? Like, what will help you? And for that, I would suggest like a lot of therapy, like a ton of therapy. And I would also just suggest that we open the schools, right? We teach people history. Yeah, maybe? Okay, bye.
Bankruptcies are skyrocketing. Right now, more trucking companies are going bankrupt, more restaurants. Farm bankruptcies are up 35% higher than 2024. Hi, today is your update in the economy. It's October 12th, 2025. We are day 12 of the government shutdown. Our economy is collapsing every single day. Look at this. Airports are a disaster. Last time we had government shutdown in 2018, we lost $3 billion every week in travel alone. Let's not forget about the safety. Donald Trump fires over 4,000 government workers, and now museums and all that stuff in Washington are closed. Washington has an unemployment rate of 6% before the government shutdown. Expect a catastrophic crisis in Washington. We have lost over 1 million jobs this year. Inflation is 2.9%. Groceries are up 29%. We are in a recession in 22 states. We are in a recession in construction. We are in a recession in manufacturing. The stock market tanked on Friday, dropping 900 points. Drop a comment below if you want to stay on the algorithm to get your update on the economy and the stock market on Monday, October 13th.
All right, so SNAP is going away in November. There's no more money. I was at No Kings yesterday and I was talking with a federal worker who runs a welfare office. And he was telling me that him and his staff have been training for de-escalation because there are going to be some very angry people going to that office asking why their kids are going hungry. They're going to be very angry. And this is going to be people's breaking point. Like that's just all there is to it. And especially for November, when it's supposed to be a time about food, especially around Thanksgiving. So all I'm going to say is if you see somebody grabbing up some food, trying to run away with it? No, you didn't. You didn't see shit. If you see somebody desperately trying to get food, you did not see a damn thing. You were paying attention to your children. You got focused on the products that you were browsing. You have a hard time hearing. I'm deaf in my left ear. I can't hear very well, especially directional hearing. My directional hearing is bad. Or maybe you're having some temporary blurry vision. You didn't see shit. You saw nothing.
The U.S. Department of Labor released a memo just a few days ago explaining that Donald Trump's policies are in fact already ruining your lives, but they're about to actually make your life so much worse to the point where you may not even be able to purchase food. And again, this is coming from the United States Department of Labor under Donald J. Trump himself. His own Labor Department had to put out this memo or letter or whatever it is you want to call it to warn Americans that this guy is ruining your life. And of course, he's doing it, according to the Labor Department, by deporting all of the farm workers in the United States. We already have a massive shortage of labor on American farms. We have had farmers, representatives come out and tell us that. The farmers themselves have come out and told us that. We don't have people to go out there and do the work, to pick the crops, to till the fields, to plant the seeds. We don't have human beings to do that now because of Trump's policies. And a lot of those people voted for those policies. But as I've always said, I'm on the fence about sympathy because when the farmers go under, all of us are affected. If it were just them suffering the consequences of their votes, you get what you vote for, right? But their suffering leads to suffering for all of us. So, we're all in the same boat on this one because every human being on the planet has to have food to survive. And we're at a point, according to the Labor Department, you may not be able to afford it anymore. Here is what they said. The current and imminent labor shortage, exacerbated by the near total cessation of the inflow of illegal aliens, increased enforcement of existing immigration law, and global competitiveness pressures described below, presents a sufficient risk of supply shock-induced food shortages to justify immediate implementation. The lack of undocumented and documented workers results in significant disruptions to production costs and threatening the stability of domestic food production and prices for U.S. consumers.
I want us all on the same page. The reason there may not be any SNAP benefits in November is because Trump cut the budget to the USDA, which runs SNAP. Not only that, he basically gutted the emergency funding for SNAP. It went from billions of dollars to $500 million. Now, during Trumpy's first term, we had the longest shutdown in the history of this country, but SNAP benefits were never threatened. Why? Because the USDA was fully funded to include emergency measures, which paid for SNAP benefits. Now, millions of Americans may go without their SNAP benefits because of Trumpy's cuts. And remember, just a few months ago, they told us they were no longer going to report the status of hunger in this country. Because if you can't prove you're hungry, nobody's going to give a fuck.
Oh, I do think that white people are absolutely jealous of black people, specifically with the community, and also with fashion and music and everything else that is appropriated. But by design of what whiteness is, it inherently lacks community. And I think we're absolutely jealous of that. And I've heard biracial people say that they do see that difference in their own families. Because in addition to European cultures being more individualistic than cultures from Africa, South America, and indigenous North American cultures, the invention of whiteness in America erased a lot of ties to actual culture. So when I say white people, black community, I'm not talking about Polish people or German people or Irish people. As I explained in my book, I just wrote the intro and I'm working on the conclusion today. Y'all keep me in your prayers. In the course of human history, white is a relatively new term. As we discussed in the introduction to this book, white is a North American term emerging from the 1600s as a term to justify the enslavement of Africans and squelch revolts from poor Europeans and indentured servants. Before this term, Europeans would identify with their nationalities. The Irish, Italians, Germans, French are all very different cultures. Thus, there is not the same communal tie to whiteness as there is for people from other communities. Further, since white was created to be a divider, a separator, it is not a happy identity. It is not something people want to admit they relate to. It doesn't have a rich, healthy history. Speaking as a white American who has conducted national level research on white Americans, we tend to say things like we have German, Irish, Italian, etc. ancestry, even if we have never been to those places. This is because all white Americans have ties to immigration, and because these identities are actual cultures, they do not have roots only in oppression. Now, we know who started colonization, right? So this is the book I'm trying to finish by Monday and send to the editor. There's a free chapter in my bio if you're interested on one of the unwritten rules of work. The book is predominantly about class, but I talk about 3 other identities that you can't talk about class without talking about these other identities, and race is absolutely one of them.
Why aren't Americans out on the streets protesting Trump's policies like they do over in Europe? Well, I'll take a shot at answering that. I'm not an expert, but I have opinions on the subject. If you're willing to listen, I'm willing to share. To begin with, I think there's a significant group of Americans who are simply apathetic. They don't care. They're willing to let the next guy handle it. They don't want to stick their necks out. There is yet another group of Americans who are simply so beaten down by the struggle of day-to-day life in this country that they don't have the energy to care. If you're a banker, if you're an attorney, if you're an engineer or an architect, a medical professional, or if you're in one of the specialized trades like electrical or plumbing, you can make a very good life here. But if you're not, there's a good chance you're struggling. And when you come home at night after that second job, all you want to do is collapse on the couch and put your feet up. You don't want to go out marching. I think Americans tend to have a negative perception of protesters, probably stemming from the days of the Vietnam War, when college students were out in the streets clashing violently with police. Americans, despite all the braggadocio and bravado, are a fairly docile bunch of people. They do what they're told. Additionally, there can be negative consequences for protesting in this country. For example, American corporations are incredibly sensitive to how they are perceived in the public eye. If it became known that a group of their employees was out marching in the streets and waving signs, there might be negative consequences. Those employees could face severance. I had a boss one time tell me that he didn't want to see me out marching in gay pride parades. It happens. Additionally, there's the risk of physical harm. It wouldn't surprise me at all to hear that a group of MAGA brown shirts had descended on some protesters and tried to beat them up. And you have to remember that Americans are armed to the teeth. Guns are everywhere. In my state, you can carry a gun in your pocket without a permit or a license. But I think the biggest reason that Americans are not out protesting in the streets about Trump's policies is that they agree with them. I know that sounds incredible, but it's true. This is an aggrieved group of people who do not want the nation sharing its wealth with other countries. They feel like America has been taken advantage of by other countries. They are tired of seeing us give away our money and our resources to other countries. They don't want people from other countries coming over here to take advantage of the benefits and the opportunities that we have. They don't want to share. Back in World War I or World War II, you would have called these people isolationists. They don't want to get involved. They don't care what happens to Ukraine. They don't care what happens to Taiwan. They don't care what happens to Europe. They simply want to keep everything to themselves. In order to understand the American mindset, you have to know something about the way Americans live, because it is dramatically different than the way people in Europe live. In Europe, people read books, they go to museums, they travel, they're exposed to other cultures, other languages, other lifestyles. They're much more cosmopolitan in their perception of how the world exists and how we all get along with each other. Here in the States, it's completely the opposite. If you watched American TV commercials, you would think that we spend our discretionary time out rock climbing or kissing under the stars or roping cattle or doing any number of things that keep us engaged with each other. The fact is, we don't live like that at all. In America, people adore technology, and they have been seduced by media. And by media, I don't mean the news media, I mean the medium itself. Television, movies, the internet, video games. They spend a great deal of their discretionary time consuming media. And the problem with America's fascination with technology and its adoration of media is that it can be very isolating. For instance, in America, you don't have to go to an office building to work anymore. You can work from home. You don't have to go to the grocery store or to the department store to pick up your goods. You can just have them delivered. You don't have to go out to a restaurant to enjoy a meal. Have it delivered to your house. You don't have to go to a movie theater to watch a movie. Just stream it on your computer or your TV. So Americans spend a great deal of time home alone. They are not exposed to a multiplicity of cultures or languages or experiences. They're home alone. And because this technology allows them to do it, they can curate their information sources so that they only hear the information that they want to hear. In other words, their biases are confirmed over and over and over. So in Europe, where you have large groups of people living in close proximity to each other, with a variety of cultures, a variety of languages, and a variety of worldviews, here in the United States, you tend to have people living in silos and echo chambers of confirmation bias. Is it any wonder that Americans live in such extreme conditions? There's no middle ground in this country anymore. You're either extreme left or extreme right. The middle ground has been eliminated by the technology that enables people to be alone all the time. We've basically become a nation of angry sociopaths. And that's why people don't get out and protest, because they agree with what Trump is doing. Trump appeals to their confirmation bias. The country is like an open wound, and Trump is quite literally the infection that is exploiting that open wound. So if you were wondering why Americans don't protest, I think that's why.
Bingo. Clocked it. Because ultimately, this is why I find it so incredibly important to decenter whiteness from your queerness, no matter what you are, black, white, brown, whatever you are. And this is why I found it extremely difficult to maintain and sustain friendships with white queer people, because there is this constant self-victimization that is laughable. It's like you'll be in a conversation and you'll be like, hey, I'm dealing with XYZ because of my marginalized identity. And they'll be like, well, I'm also dealing with XYZ. And you'll be like, okay. You're just venting to them. You're literally just being a friend. You're venting and you're saying, well, I couldn't pay my rent. Well, I couldn't pay my rent in 2003, so it's like, okay, girl. Literally try to play this game that you didn't even realize you were playing. And the wild part about it is every single time you see that light of curiosity and spark in their eyes, the moment they feel like they can be friends with a person of color. And this is truly, I've seen this in lots of white queer women, almost as if they're the white queer Thanos, and they got one of their infinity stones the moment they get a person of color as a friend, because they latch on and they're like, how can I suck from the host? How can I try to one-up you and play Oppression Olympics every single moment, every single opportunity that I get? It's scary. And this is why it's so dangerous to be a person of color that is queer, because what happens is we see danger, right? As humans, we know how to find danger. We know how to see danger. The problem with white queer people is they will be the danger that was lurking there the whole time and you had no clue. You'll be 3-4 years into a friendship only to find out, oh, you didn't like me. I was just one of your infinity stones for your virtue signaling for your potluck. Oh. And the older I get and the more into my queerness and my queer journey I get, the more I can clock those red flags. But it is it's very debilitating. It's very painful. It's very hurtful. But yes, the jealousy is absolutely there. Clocked it.
So guys, I hope you have watched that video and you have seen how majority of white people, they have come out and say how America it is falling, and also how America dream right now it is no more, simply because of how the economy is. And also majority of them, they are regretting for voting for this administration. Right now they are now waking up, but right now I can tell them that it is too late. Black people, they play a major role of warning these MAGA people, the Republicans, the white Americans. Black people, they tried and warned them, educating them, telling them how things it will be if they will elect this administration. But these people, as usual, they ignore warnings from black people. They went ahead and vote against racism. These people, they went ahead and vote so that they can punish immigrant people and black people. They thought that this administration policy will not affect them. The people who are going to suffer, it is the black people. But it has turned around, and it is like God, he came through for black people. These people, these people that have been voting for this for over 500 years. They've been voting to punish the people of the color. They've been voting so that they can see black people suffer. But this time round, things have really changed. And also, I cannot blame black people, because black people, they played a major role. They tried to save this country, America, but these people, they didn't listen. So right now, the people who are really destroying this America, it is the white folks that the one who are destroying. And that's why you can see right now they are waking up. Right now they are regretting for not listening the warnings from black people. We have been seeing how how the United States economy is right now. We have been seeing majority of white people, they cannot even afford basic necessity. We have been seeing they cannot even afford to pay their medical bill. Right now we are seeing that starting from November 1st, we are now seeing that the government, it is planning to end SNAP benefit. So you can see also majority of people who they are benefiting from the SNAP, also they will also not get those benefits. So this is to tell you that right now America economy, it is really going down. And also we have been seeing government shutting down. When the government is shutting down, we have been seeing Donald Trump government, it has fired more people. They have been losing their jobs right now. And this is to tell you that these people right now, they are now realizing that their country is falling down. And that's why you can see majority of them, they have been coming out trying to protest so that they can save their country. Like the other day we saw during the No King's Day protest, we saw majority of them, they came out and protest, sending a message to the government that they want to save their country, because these people, they thought that they put a wrong person in office. And that's why majority of them, they have been wanting to protest. And all whatever they are doing right now, they are not seeing black people on it. So they are also asking questions, why are black people not coming out and helping us in this time whereby the economy is hard? Majority of them, they are suffering. So these people, they are also thought, they are now thinking that black people, they are not suffering. So black people, they are suffering, and black people, they played a major role of warning these guys. And because they didn't listen the warning from black people, they went ahead and vote. After voting, black people, they said that now we are relaxing, so let us see how the things will unfold. And that's why up today, when these people, they are asking help from black people, they are keep on telling them that no, for us, we protested during on our using our votes, and right now we are relaxing. We want to see how this country it is going. And that's why you are now seeing majority of black Americans, they are not participating in anything, where they are not participating in any protest of protesting against government. No, black people, they have just relaxed. And this is like black people, they are teaching them a lesson. Next time they should not vote against their own interest. Next time they should not vote to punish black people. So guys, I have some of the message here that I want to share with you and see what people that have come out and say on the comment section. This one is saying that racism is expensive. Exactly, I've been telling you that racism, it is expensive, and now these people, they are having a rude awakening. So these people right now, they are realizing that since they are really suffering and they are going broke, majority of their farmers, they are going broke. They are seeing that black people, they are doing better. Black people, they are black people, they are now becoming more successful, especially these hard times when they are crying. Now black people, they are becoming more successful, and that's why they are asking why black people, they are doing better than us right now. It is like black people, they knew what it is coming, and black people, they prepared themselves. Black people, they knew what it is coming and they prepared. So, and also black people, they know how to thrive in a hard economy. That it is one thing that these people, they need to know. Black people, they know how to become a successful, even if the economy or the country it is not favoring them, they know how to survive. So this one is saying that black will eat grass to survive. We can season anything and make it delicious. We will never starve. Exactly. So this one saying that sound like black people live for hundreds of years. No one cared or helped. This one saying that black farmers are working their own farms. Who lazy now? Give them the money. Exactly. So we have been seeing the white farmers, they have been going bankrupt, and also they have been crying that their crops, it is rottening in the farms, and their workers, they have refused to come and show up in the farms to help them to pick the crops. So these people, first of all, they voted for deportation, and they knew very well that the people who are helping them in the farms, they are immigrant people. So when they voted for deportation, and we've been seeing how ICE, they have been raiding in the farms, how they've been deporting people. Because of that, majority of their workers, the white farmers or workers, majority of their workers, they have been not be showing up overnight. So, and that it is because of how ICE it is raiding on the farms, how ICE it is kidnapping people, how ICE it is deporting people. Because of that, we have been seeing the crops in their farms, it has been rotting. But right now, they have been asking help from black people, but black people, they have refused to go and help them in the farms. So I wonder, why are these white farmers, they're asking help while the black farmers, they're not asking for help? You can see, this will tell you that these people that have been depending so much, the migrant people, these people, they cannot do without a black people. In short, these people, they cannot do without black people. Right now, they are realizing that how immigrant people and black people, they are so much important to them, because right now, black people, they're telling them that now you guys, you voted for deportation. You need to go and bring the MAGA people to work in your farms, but don't call us black people. And also, I've been seeing black farmers that have been all along working in their farms. Right now, black farmers, they're doing better than the white farmers who are really depending to immigration people. This one saying that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. This one is saying that black people accepted it in a way by just getting on. If this was just happening to black people, they wouldn't give a shit. We, the black people, survive through the discrimination, etc. This one is saying that to my black brother and sisters, Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming. It's time to cancel that stuff. We need to hold our dollars. We have enough of everything. Consumeries keep the rich flush with cash. Please explain to your children now. Don't go into debt for one day. Stock your pantries, and I am not talking about snack, either beans and rice. Are you your friend? So this one is saying that exactly, racism is very expensive. Yeah, guys, racism, it is very expensive. This one saying that when will people in this country realize that millionaires and billionaires do not care about you or me? They only want more money and more power. This one saying that white people did not vote for Trump because of his policy. They vote against black people, but how is that working out for them now? Exactly, I've been telling you that the white people did not vote for Trump because of his policy. They voted against black people, but how is that working out for them now? Exactly, these people, they voted for racism, these people, they voted just to punish black people. They thought they didn't want black people to put Kamala Harris, because they also saw the Kamala Harris, she's a woman and also she's black. They didn't want her, but right now they're realizing that they did a mistake and they didn't see the policy that this government is coming in with. So kindly guys, you can also share your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be reading it in my next video. Kindly guys, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you so much. We are heading to 100k subscriber. Kindly subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you so much.